What's up, guys? Welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. My name is Alicia, and in this video I'm going to show you how I made this witch's brew potion. Actually, it's more of a witch's potion cup rather than a witch's brew with glow-in-the-dark drips. It is the easiest way I found to do drips, so if you're interested to see how I did this, stick around and I'm going to go ahead and get started. Alright guys, I'm using a 20-ounce Modern Curve by Maker Flow. I have sanded it and spray painted it matte black. Now I'm going in with my spray adhesive, which is Krylon spray adhesive, and I'm spraying it on an angle, so I'm going heavier at the top and lighter at the bottom. And then I go around the cup to get a heavier coat because I don't want a whole lot of glitter to attach to the bottom, so that's why I'm doing it that way. And then I apologize, but I thought I was recording the first time that I went and sprayed the put the glitter on, my first coat of glitter, and I did not, so I apologize. So you'll see I did catch the second round of glitter that I did, so I did do 2 coats, but I applied from the top on an angle, on a pretty heavy angle, because I just wanted it to fall to the bottom, and I don't want full coverage at the bottom because I want that black showing through. So if you can see, I'm just going around and I'm tapping it. The glitter I used, of course, is Glitter Makes It. It is a blend of Oasis, Distracted Globe, and Night Bus. And I will link them down below, of course, as I always do with my discount code. And so I blended those 3 together. They are like a mildly chunky to a fine, and it gave exactly the coverage that I wanted. It is a solid glitter, so you do not see the black through the glitter. So that's why I did this fade look, because I do want to see the black cup down at the bottom. And I just keep going down the cup until I get the fade that I liked. So the second time around gave it the coverage that I wanted. The first time it just wasn't enough coverage at the top, so I definitely wanted to give it a second coat. But you know, as soon as I was done with the first coat, I went out, sprayed it again in the same exact way I sprayed it, came back in and started applying the glitter again. Isn't that gorgeous? Love it. Love it, love it. All right, and then after that, go ahead and press your glitter down, because you don't want chunkies, too many chunkies sticking up, because then that'll be a problem when you put your epoxy on. Then you'll have a lot of sanding, and you know, we want to try to sand less, you know. So go ahead and just pat that with your hand, or you can use a gloved hand, whatever you want to do, or you can roll a piece of wax paper around it and pat it all down. Whatever works for you, or whatever you're used to, or try all of them and see what works the best for you. So once I'm done with that and it dries, I take it outside with my Rust-Oleum 2x Gloss Clear, and I give it 2 good coats to seal this glitter in so that it doesn't travel a whole lot. Although it doesn't really matter if it travels, because you know, it's the same color, so I'm okay with that. But I still do the seal because, you know, we try to minimize that. Okay, guys? And so next we're gonna go on after that's dry. So I let it go about 30 minutes between each coat, then let it dry for another hour before I go in with my epoxy. And so I'm applying my epoxy in the same manner that I always do. I'm putting about 30 mLs on here, between 20 and 30 mLs. I don't think it was quite 30 mLs that I mixed up. And I'm putting it on. You're gonna need a little bit more epoxy, sorry, when you're doing it over glitter, because the glitter kind of soaks it up, and you want to get, you know, as good of coverage as you can the first time around. It did take 2 coats, and I did use Stone Coat's Quick Coat. So the first time I used about 25 mLs of epoxy, and the second I used about 15. So, you know, once you get that good coat on, you don't need as much the second time around. So I'm just, you know, pulling it down, pushing it up, making sure not to work it too much. If you work your epoxy too much, you can create new bubbles, so you don't want to do that. So I'm making sure I get good coverage. I put my epoxy on with a gloved hand because I can feel for dry spots and heavy spots. You can do whatever you want, or you can try whatever you want, including a silicone brush, if that's what you feel comfortable with. And you know, you just do whatever works for you, but I always apply it with my gloved hand. Plus, I don't have any reactions to epoxy, so I'm fortunate. So if it does get on my skin, I'm okay. And then I'm using my torch to pop bubbles. I use the torch over the heat gun because I feel like the heat gun doesn't pop all of them the way that the torch does. So this is what works best for me. And then after this is turning for 2 hours, I'm going to apply my second coat, and then I'm ready to move on to applying my, what am I doing now? I've got, okay, so I'm going to start applying my pearls, and these are half pearls that I purchased at Michael's, And I have a little bit of epoxy because that's what I'm using to adhere over, you know, I'm not going to use Gorilla Glue or E6000 or any other glue. I'm going to use the the UV resin. Geez, I'm losing my thought here. I'm going to use the UV resin so that I can kind of get an instant freeze on there. And, you know, it reduces the dry time. And so what I'm using is a picker that I purchased off of, I think it was Amazon. I'm going to look for it. So it is like a pearl or a gem picker to place them on my cup. So right now I'm stirring up my little concoction mixture, which is I put in some epoxy dye in this like bright lime green color with some glow in the dark powder. And I'm going to apply it using a paintbrush, just like a regular paintbrush. And don't gasp because you can clean it. All right, don't forget your UV light. Make sure you have that handy. And I just poured a bunch of these pearls into the lid. And here we go. Here's my picker. So it's got a wax tip, and that's what grips the pearl or the gem to place it on whatever it is that you're using. So I am, you know, I put the gems or the the pearls into the lid of the container so that I can just pick them from there and place them on the cup. And so this process does take a while, and I'm going to speed it up. But I'm dipping my brush in. I am painting the epoxy on the cup, and I'm using, you know, I can do like, I'm going to go around the top, and I'm not going to go all the way to the top. I want to leave like a hair lip up there. And so I'm just painting it on, and I'll put my brush down, grab my little picker, start putting my pearls on in a random fashion. There is no rhyme or reason. I'm using different sizes. I'm not using the largest ones in the group. I am using the medium to the smaller. So it's like a medium, a smaller size, and then a little like itty bitty size to kind of fill in some of the blanks. They don't necessarily need to be all grouped up together. There can be spaces between them because these are simulating bubbles. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It's, you know, and that's the beauty and the imperfection, is that it will, you know, it will look more natural if it's not like exactly perfect. So you can paint your drips down and put some pearls down. It's up to you how you want to do it. I am going to do this all the way around the cup, and I think I've said all that I need to say with this narration, so I'm just going to put some lovely iMovie music on, and I'm going to, you know, fast forward through the rest of this because it does take some time, and so I don't want to keep you here, guys, forever and bore you to tears. So, all right, here we go. Here's some music. Alright guys, here is my concoction for my glow-in-the-dark drips. Alright, so I'm going to come in again with my lime green pigment. Alright, and I'm going to give that a stir. Yep, I'm stirring with the end of a brush. And I want some more in here. One more drop. Then I'm going to come in with my glow powder. Look at this cute little spoon that came with some kit I had. I'm going to put a generous amount of glow powder in here. I want to make sure the sucker really glows. All right, that was like 3/2 scoops of this. Then I'm gonna go in with a scoop of Meltdown, which is a glow-in-the-dark glitter, because I want shimmer in there, and this is gonna give me shimmer. And I don't want to put a thick chunky glitter in here, because I am going to be sucking this up with a syringe, and I want more green. So I want to make sure that I can get it in the syringe and it doesn't get clogged up by glitter. So that's why I use this super fine glitter, and it's going to give it just enough sparkle. And plus it's glow in the dark, bonus. All right, I want a little bit more in here. All right, so this is my concoction, guys. No measuring, just adding until you like it. All right, and of course I'm unprepared because I didn't grab my syringe, so I will be right back with my syringe so we can start these drips. All right, so real quick before I get started with that, this was the brush that I was using with the UV resin. I've just put some acetone in this cup, and that's how I'm cleaning it. In case you were wondering. All right, my brush is all good, and I can reuse this. All right, let's get on with these drips. These easy peasy. I love this. I will never do drips another way again. I will never sit and wait for epoxy for 45 minutes to get hard enough and then sit there and babysit it afterwards. I will never add expensive thickeners to it again. This is the way I will forever be doing drips. So I am going to start here at the top, and I'm just gonna gently squeeze this, let it start dripping. And as soon as I get it where I want, freeze. Now I'm gonna freeze this exactly where I want it. Make sure your UV light, has plenty of battery life, because if it's weak, it's not gonna freeze it, and then you may have a drip that goes where you don't want it to. So I'm gonna pull that back down. And you can layer these drips, of course. And you know what? The pearls are too white for me. So you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna alcohol ink these guys. All right, so can you see it glowing? It's already starting to look cool, but I'm not happy with the white pearls, too white. So I went and I grabbed green alcohol ink. I am using the color called Kiwi, and I will link the brand down below. It's a different brand than like Tim Holtz or any of those. And my white paper, and so what I did was I just took the alcohol ink and I dripped it downwards onto the pearls, so that it would color the pearls and not drip down the cup the other way, because I didn't want, obviously, the green drips down into the purple going down the cup. So I just flipped it upside down, and I just went around the entire cup and got all the pearls green. And what was nice, you know, about using the alcohol ink is that it dried really, really quickly, so I could go right back into doing my drips. And so ideally this wasn't the perfect color. I think that it should have went with maybe like a more of a lime green. But this was what I grabbed because I couldn't find the other green that I have, which is a lighter color. So I would go with something brighter. So depending on the color green that you are using as your drips, and your outer color is what I would do, you know, the inner color. So like ideally I would have used the neon color green that I used to mix up the epoxy, but it's epoxy pigment and I didn't know how it was going to work on the pearls. So I know the alcohol ink would definitely work on the pearls. And, you know, this worked actually just fine. So the green over top of it was, you know, worked. It was green enough, and, you know, you didn't see the white anymore, and that's, you know, that's what I wanted. So you know, after I was done this, of course I had to clean up my area a little bit and then get back to the drips. So, you know, I continued doing the drips the same way around the cup. So I, you know, I had some in my syringe and I gently squeezed out, and, you know, I gave it some guidance around the pearls and just let it drip down, and then took my UV light and just froze it. And you know, I just loved the way this worked. I didn't see anybody do this. I'm sure I'm not the only one who's ever done this. I'm sure I'm not inventing this, but of all the people that I watch do, you know, that I watch on a regular myself, like watch tutorials, I haven't seen anybody use the, of course I don't see every single tutorial, but I haven't seen anybody use the UV resin to do drips. So, you know, I decided to give it a go and make it work for me, because I like how quick it is to do. And I like that, you know, it goes on thin and then it gives you the ability to layer. I like the layered look. So it's totally up to you. And, you know, you do what you want. And you may find that you don't like this, and that's totally fine. But just, you know, giving you an option, you know, because sometimes, you know, waiting for epoxy, you know, for 45 minutes or an hour to get to the consistency that you need it just isn't an option, you know, with a busy day, you know, especially busy moms. So, like I said, I think this is just a really super quick and easy way. And, you know, you can do some guidance with it. And I found later on that if you mix a little bit more glitter in there, it will thicken it up a little bit. So it won't be quite as runny, because like right now it's pretty runny consistency. So you've got to work fast with your UV light. Like as soon as you put it on there and it starts to drip, you know, as soon as it gets where you want it, you got to get in there and freeze it. And it's, you know, very quick process. So you can thicken it up a little bit with more glitter and slow the drip down just a hair, not, you know, not a lot. But again, you know, it's, you know, I will never go back to waiting again. So I'm just gonna, you know, finish this up. I do a second layer on top off camera, because I did run out, and, you know, I used quite a bit, but I mixed up a new batch, and then I went in and I did another layer, and, you know, I absolutely love the way they came out. So I'm just going to pass you along to some music for right now, until I get to the point where I'm putting on my decal. right, guys, so I played around with these drips for a while until I got them where I like them, and they are layered and fluffy and just a hot mess, and I absolutely love it. So now the last step before epoxy is just to put this label on. So, you know, I couldn't decide which one I wanted, so I printed these both out. I can always use one for another one, but I think you know, everybody's been doing witch's brew, and you know what? This is more my speed because, let's see, vroom vroom. So this is a drink to make my broom go faster. And anybody who knows me knows that I am all about the need for speed and my cars and my car shows and car cruises, and I am obsessed with my Mustang. So to go faster, yeah, absolutely, I would totally take a drink to go faster. So this is definitely me. I'm going to speed this up a little bit, but what I was saying here was you know, I don't usually work with Modern Curve. I generally don't like the curve, and I hate putting decals on it, but for this cup, I preferred the Modern Curve. So I printed this decal on printable vinyl because obviously you were not going to cut this out on black vinyl. I wanted the white background, and I didn't want to do water slide because I did not want the glitter to come through. So that's why I did the printable vinyl. And I'm eyeballing this up and putting this on. And you know, I did manage to work around the curve without too many issues. I did put it on a little bit crooked, so I wound up picking it back up off camera and placing it the right way. Only because, you know, I was trying to show it so that you guys could see, and yeah, it was all crooked and stuff, so I went to redoing it. One other thing I just want to show you real quick with regard to this label here. So I ordered both of these from Etsy, but this one wanted to cut each and every little thing out when I transferred it over to my Cricut Design Space. So what you have to do if you do a label like this, and if you're not aware how to do this, is do a shape, make a square, unlock it, and then size it to exactly the same size. So this is 2.25 wide, so 0.25 wide by 3843. So 3843. And then I'm going to change it to white. I'm going to layer this. I'm going to line it up. And then I'm going to flatten it. So you come down here, and this is in Cricut Design Space. You're going to flatten it. Now, when you do a print and cut, if you're doing a print and cut on the vinyl, it's going to just cut out as a square. So I just wanted to show you that that's what you have to do in order to get this to cut as a square, and not each individual little tiny cut out, because it was a hot mess and took like a half an hour. So lesson learned. So yeah, so I'm going to link this down below. So just be aware, if you decide to use this label, it comes in a batch of a bunch of, you know, cool labels, that's what you have to do. Okay, so that is it for that. All right, so my UV resin's all cured up, and I had to stick it under a lamp for a little while to get it to cure better. But so what I am doing is I'm applying epoxy over the entire cup, including the drips. So the reason why I'm putting the epoxy over the drips is because there's been some controversy about whether or not it is safe to drink from. Although I won't be drinking from the lid of this because, you know, it's kind of bumpy, and I don't know that it's gonna, you know, your lips are gonna feel, it's gonna just feel weird. But in any case, if somebody decided that they wanted to drink directly from the cup, then you need to use your epoxy that is food grade safe, or whatever, you know, meets the FDA standards for use with food. So that's why I am covering the entire cup, including the drips. Then this way there is no question whether or not my cup is safe if somebody decides to drink directly from it. So I apply my epoxy in the usual manner, making sure it's smooth, torch out the bubbles, and I will be back with my final remarks when this is cured. Hey guys, this cup is done. I'm so excited because this is for me. I love, love, love how this came out. So look how pretty this glitter is. Absolutely gorgeous, fading down to the bottom. These drips are perfect. The glow is perfect. It was so easy to do. So, You know, of course, I went with the Broom Vroom, so it is a potion cup, but not witch's brew. And it fits me perfectly. So thank you all for watching. Please make sure to give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe, leave a comment. I love to hear your feedback. And don't forget to share. And I will see you guys all next time. Bye.